Today on TQA Weekly, I talk about content delivery networks, websites, and how they make them better, faster, safer, and far more reliable. Welcome to TQA Weekly. I'm the host, Steve Smith, aka Z-Axis. If you have any technology questions, comments, suggestions, and or stories, you can always email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or head over to my website, tqaweekly.com. Of course, if you wanted the specific show notes for this episode, tqaweekly.com/SE3EP26. That is the short URL to bring you straight to the actual show notes. We're going to be talking about content delivery networks, how to make your internet experience better, faster, safer, and ultimately more reliable. And yes, even though this has very little to do with the end user, that would be the people actually breathing in the content, people like me who have their own websites may be interested to know that there is a difference, and a very, very big difference, between serving your content from one specific server and serving your content from a content delivery network. Now, we always talk about how the internet brings us closer together. Most of us don't know how that works, so I'm going to try to explain this in a way that is very simplified. Your traditional website is being served from one geographic point on the world, from a single server with a specific amount of bandwidth and processing power. So basically, for your traditional text-based content delivery from a website, this is not really an issue, especially if your visitors to your website are local. So newspapers don't typically have to worry about CDNs. They can periodically offline if they did not have enough bandwidth or processing power to deal with sudden influxes of traffic. Now, for websites that have multimedia, like my own, tqaweekly.com, we have to use a CDN since our content is being served to not just one specific local point on the world from a local server, because if I were, quite frankly, only serving text, I have access to a service from GoDaddy that gives me access to a micro CDN that has a server in the East Coast and in the West, meaning that people locally in North America could easily access the content, and processing power and bandwidth is not an issue in their case. However, my content, as well as other people's content, is being downloaded all over the world, which is why a CDN may be important. Other groups of people using CDNs are Google, Amazon, Facebook, Cashfly, Twit, and all of that group of people and organizations as well. What happens is a CDN is actually a cluster of servers spread out geographically all over the world, meaning that people closest to one of those CDNs will actually connect to a different server than your content is being served. If one person in Rome were to access a specific file from a server, it will be sent once to the closest CDN server and sent to the client. Now, if somebody in Brazil, alongside with another 12 dozen people, tried to access the same file from a website, it will actually be sent once from the master server to the closest CDN, in their case, one connection, and then it will be served from that specific CDN server to every single person there, cutting down on the amount of bandwidth required to send the file and shortening the distance for those people to receive the file. That makes it faster and more reliable. If everybody tried to connect at the same time, it would slow down the website and also cut down the speed of transmission because it would actually lower the amount of bandwidth. This is why a CDN is great and actually makes your experience more reliable and faster. So, what else can a CDN do? Well, I use CloudFlare, And one of the great services is that it actually stops websites or other computers or whatever from attacking the website. Makes them more immune to DDoSing by actually spreading the attack vector over many servers as opposed to one, meaning we do not go down as easily. It blocks spam and other types of attacks. Again, because it's spread over a greater amount of servers than just one. And because of this, that makes your website experience safer. In my case, I go to it every day, see what happened, and if somebody did try to attack, I have the option of allowing or blocking. In most cases, we just block. For those who have their own website and they want to serve more content, do these services cost money? Well, the answer is yes and no. So if you go to the sources on my show, you will find a few different services that are for free. You will find a lot that actually cost money. If you want it, a specific suggestion, I say go with CloudFlare. CloudFlare.com. It will scan your website, tell you which name servers to put in, and the rest of your website will function exactly as it did before. You will not notice anything. What will happen though is your website will be served from many different points all over the world and be faster, and they do offer free services like I use. Next week, bigger is better when it comes to fans, and I'm going to be explaining about airflow, why the size of the fan does and doesn't have anything to do with anything, how to correctly install fans, because if you don't do that correctly, it doesn't matter how big the fan is, and things you should consider when buying new fans for your own computer. Thank you for listening to TQA Weekly. Show your support by liking this episode, subscribe to get our latest episodes as they come out, and share with friends and family who may benefit from such a show as this. You may send us your questions, comments, suggestions, and or stories to ask at tqaweekly.com. For our show notes, links to our Android application, alternate means of subscribing to our show, and information on joining our weekly newsletter, head over to tqaweekly.com. Stay safe and online, and have a great day.